Do you remember when imagination was enough? When a stick was a sword and a cardboard box was a spaceship? Today, childhood doesn't play anymore. It performs, not for joy, but for views. We didn't notice when the playground turned into a stage and the camera became the new parent. Welcome to the generation raised by TikTok, where innocence has a filter and emotions have an algorithm. Every time a child looks into a phone's camera, they don't just see their reflection, they see the world staring back. They learn early that attention is love, that validation is value, and that silence means invisibility. The screen becomes the mirror where identity is born, but it isn't a real reflection, it's a performance. And the child starts living not to feel, but to be seen feeling. The child's brain is still developing, still learning what brings comfort, safety, and joy. But TikTok rewires those circuits, one scroll at a time. Every like releases dopamine, the same substance that comes from a hug, a laugh, a loving voice. Except now, the hug comes from strangers, and it disappears in seconds. The result? A generation emotionally overstimulated but spiritually empty. Children who feel everything and understand nothing. Before, children used to ask, "Do you love me?" Now they ask, "Did you watch me?" The applause of strangers replaces the presence of parents. Affection is measured in numbers. Self-worth becomes a public currency. But what happens when the views drop? When the comments turn cruel? When the child who was loved by millions is suddenly ignored? The brain interprets it as rejection, the same pain as losing real love. Except this time, there's no one left to hold them. Silence once healed. Now, it terrifies. Children raised in constant noise, music, trends, notifications, no longer know how to exist without stimulation. They can't be alone with their own thoughts because their thoughts feel empty. They can't rest because rest feels like failure. The tragedy of modern childhood is not abuse, but excess. A generation that has seen too much, too soon, and never learned to look within. We call them digital natives, but maybe they're digital orphans. Parents are present, but their attention belongs elsewhere, to their own screens, to their own escapes. The child dances, smiles, performs, and inside, feels invisible. They imitate adults who are just as lost in the same illusion. They don't know who they are without an audience, and maybe neither do we. Playtime is no longer creation, it's content. Laughter is edited. Tears are monetized. But deep down, every child still has the same desire to be loved without having to earn it. No filters, no algorithms, just presence. Just silence that comforts, just connection that doesn't need to be recorded. If childhood is the seed of who we become, then what kind of adults will grow from this soil of screens and silence? We handed children technology before we gave them wisdom. We taught them to post before we taught them to feel. And now we wonder why they no longer look us in the eyes. Maybe it's time to teach again, not how to create content, but how to create meaning. Because the antidote to this generation's loneliness is not more connection, it's more humanity.